Well, good morning, Little Masters, and welcome back to today's Tolkien Times. I'm the Man of the West, also from the Prancing Pony podcast. Let's go ahead and get this week started with Mailbag Monday. Now, today I'm answering a few questions that I've had people ask in Discord, on social media, and even in some DMs about the show itself. This feels like a pretty good time to look back over the last few weeks and do a sort of state of the show thing. One of the questions I got was, are you really going to do this every day, and will you ever take time off? Let me answer those first. I think the last 36 episodes in 6 weeks have shown that I absolutely will do this daily. That's the whole point. But will I also take time off? Yeah, I'm going to have to, right? I mean, I'm finishing up season 7 of the PPP. I have to plan out season 8 and figure out what I'm doing there. I've got another project that I hope to launch next month, and I'm still working on that book that's going to be coming out in September. So here's the plan. The TTT will release an 8-week series with 2 weeks off between series. So you'll get 48 episodes, then a couple of weeks off before I come back for another 8 weeks, and so on. Now, if you do the math, you'll quickly see that gets me to 5 10-week cycles in a year. So I'll also take off the 2 weeks at Christmas and New Year's. Now, the nice thing about this plan is that during the 6 weeks of hiatus on the PPP, you'll get the TTT to help satisfy that craving for Middle-earth, and I'll get a brief break from the TTT as the new season of the Prancing Pony podcast gets underway. Now, another question that I was asked was, what if you run out of stuff for a particular day? Yeah, pretty unlikely for some days, right? I mean, I think I could read passages from the Legendarium every day for the next 10 years and not run out of material. So Silmarillion Saturday and Third Age Thursdays are safe. Still, I suppose the well could run a little dry from time to time into Mailbag, but that's the nice thing about alliteration. Mailbag Monday could become Mordor Monday or Miscellaneous Monday or Maiar Monday, whatever it needs to be if I reach the bottom of the mailbag. And while I doubt I'll run out of interesting words to dive into, I can imagine taking a break for a West Farthing Wednesday, a Western-esque Wednesday, or maybe just a Wildcard Wednesday. What if a guest has to reschedule and I'm stuck on a Friday? Fellowship Friday, First Age Friday, Fangorn Friday, who knows what I'll come up with. I was also asked a pretty important question, how can you afford to do this show? Now, I think they meant how can I afford the time to do the show, and that is a fair question, and the answer is that, well, really, I can't right now, but I'm doing it anyway because I want this daily show to be a place for casual fans to feel welcome and to learn more, and for my Prancing Pony podcast listeners to get an extra dose of Tolkien every day. But that kind of leads to the way that I took that question, which was, how can I afford to do the show financially? I invested a lot into the new shelves and the new desk, the professional camera, audio, and lighting, along with all the other hardware and software to make this a show that's on par with the production values of the PPP. A lot easier to do when it's just audio. In fact, if there's one thing I learned in season 2 and beyond of the PPP, it's that production values matter. So to that end, I also hired Megan to come up with what I think is a fantastic logo and branding design. I love what she did with that. I've hired Jonathan to provide professional video editing. And most of the rest of my PPP team also have jobs to do here. Casey gets the word out on social media. Becca handles the new part of the bag. Phil built the website. Katie handles all the uploading and distribution. I've taken time away from my other paying jobs to write and shoot these episodes. So there is a real dollar cost for a show that isn't generating revenue yet. Okay, fair. Those of you listening to it on the podcast feed, I know that you've been hearing ads. I think I've cleared enough for 3 cups of coffee so far, but it helps, so thank you. If there are ads on YouTube when you're watching, please know those don't help me yet, and they won't until I get a ton of subscribers. But let me be clear. Like the Prancing Pony podcast, I promise that episodes of today's Tolkien Times will be free for as long as I'm doing the show. I am not going to put them behind a paywall. But also like the PPP, I'll likely start a Patreon once I've figured out the best way to provide value for those of you who want to support the show. Maybe it'll be ad-free episodes, maybe priority for mailbag questions or the like, maybe a private live stream once or twice a month. I don't know yet. I would just ask that you please consider supporting the show when the time comes, probably when the second series begins in late July. Here's the thing. I've made no secret of the fact that I want to make Tolkien content creation my full-time and only job for as many years as I have left to serve this incredible community. It has been such a privilege so far. And frankly, I think I do a kind of decent job of it, but I could always get better. The thing is that takes time, effort, and resources, as I can't sink 50 hours a week into a passion project and still hope to send my kids to college in 8 years. Now, maybe it's a pipe dream. Maybe I need to dial back in the future and put more effort back into the things that I used to do, architectural photography and voiceover, which I still do from time to time. But I love what I do here. I love studying Tolkien, learning more about Tolkien, learning more about the Legendarium, welcoming fans, giving fans a deeper dive, everything from the casual fan to the hardcore fan. I love being able to help all of them. And I want to keep doing more and more of that. So thank you for listening, and thank you for your support of the TTT in the future and now in whatever form that takes. Now, that does wrap it up for today's Mailbag Monday. If you have a question about the Legendarium that you'd like me to answer, please email it to barliman@theprancingponypodcast.com. Let him know that it's for today's Tolkien Times, though, and I'll get to it soon. Now, if these few minutes leave you wanting more Tolkien content, especially because there wasn't a lot to begin with, you're going to want to check out the Prancing Pony podcast, where we've spent 7 years so far walking through the books, answering mailbag questions, and just having a nice chat at the pub about our favorite author. And please join me again tomorrow on today's Tolkien Times for Tolkien Tuesday as we learn more about the professor himself and the process of getting The Lord of the Rings published. Please like and subscribe on YouTube, and follow or subscribe on your podcast apps to make sure each episode gets downloaded to your device. Follow at Tolkien Times on YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok. And as Faramir says, go with the goodwill of all good men.